Welcome back to the news at 10. One of the world's largest cement producers, Dangote Industries, says if the federal government can perfect mining sector regulations to encourage private sector investment, the sector will experience a boom in the short period. At the National Mining Summit in Abuja, the honorary advisor to the group chairman Aliko Dangote, Mr. Joseph Makwaju, says the company is ready to do more to ensure that Nigerians derive economic benefits from their involvement in the sector.
On the sidelines of a well-attended National Mining Summit, one of Nigeria's biggest players in the sector says it's positioned to play a leading role in the mining sector of tomorrow.
Dangote is very proud to be one of these organizations that had the foresight many years back to know the potential of this sector, and we've been investing heavily in it. We are #1 mining operator in this country today. If you take cement alone, we produce about 25 million tons of cement every year. You need 2 tons of raw materials to make 1 ton of limestone, which means just for cement alone, we're moving 50 million tons we mine. We excavate and mine and process 50 million tons of minerals.
Spearheading international panel discussions on the way forward, the Dangote Group says the Nigerian government can do even more to encourage greater private sector involvement.
The government has to also create incentives for the development of capacity, particularly human capital. And that can be done through government institutions providing effective facilities for training, effective facilities for testing and so on, which unfortunately are lacking.
Dangote Industries says Nigerians can benefit much more with new developments coming on stream.
Company income tax is in the region of 30%. So 30% of our revenue actually goes to government. 30% of our profit goes to government in terms of taxes. But there are also other ways. We give dividends and there is income tax on those dividends. And indeed, we give employment to other people. There is income tax on those employment. And when we sell cement, also there is VAT. So a huge amount of revenue is generated by government through these activities.
Mining is now just one of the many sectors in which the Dangote Group positions itself to lead in innovation, contribution, and in the development of the Nigerian economy.
To aviation now, and passengers of Arik Air have been commending the on-time performance and customer friendliness of the airline in what they describe as a departure from the past. The Asset Management Company of Nigeria, who currently manages the carrier, says the new face of the airline is the product of the quest to put the customer first.
Aviation provides the only worldwide transportation network, which makes it essential for global business and tourism. It also plays a vital role in facilitating economic growth in many countries. Here in Nigeria, Arik Air says it's seeking to take a prominent role in connected cities once more as it continues business under the ownership of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON. As the airline continues with its rebranding process, 2 areas passengers attest that the airline has raised the bar, includes on-time customer friendliness.
Yeah, the flight was good. The flight was scheduled to depart by 9:30, and we actually took off 9:45.
When the new management have taken over, there's a lot of improvement. Like you see now, I'm in Lagos. I'm trying to buy my ticket and go back to Abuja. But before now, Arik will delay. At time we cancel their flight without giving a reasonable reason to our passengers. I think they are in trying and they will continue to patronize them.
With experienced officials saddled with the responsibility of turning the company around, they share their mantra for change.
We have determined and communicated across Arik that ensuring that customers fly on time is an important imperative for this aircraft, for this airline business. And so there's focus across the business on OTP.
Any complaints we get from customers, we make sure we get in touch with them. We call them by phone, we send them emails. try to know what the problem is and how we can resolve it, and trying to put a face to our product, and our people is the face of the product. So we're always training our staffs on how to handle passengers when they have complaints.
AMCON says the takeover of Arik Air underscores government's decision to preserve the airline, improve customer experience and sustain the safety of operations, and it appears to be doing just that.
And from aviation, let's take a look at some business news. Here's Anne Waudu.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks a lot, Ijoma. Welcome to Business News. Global ratings institution Fitch Ratings has given Nigeria's upcoming dollar-denominated diaspora bond an expected rating of B+. In a report released today, Fitch says the assignment of this final rating is dependent on the receipt of final documents materially conforming to information already reviewed. The rating is also in line with Nigeria's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating of B+, which is deemed negative. But in January, Fitch affirmed Nigeria's long-term foreign and local currencies IDR at B+ and revised the outlook to negative. In spite of this negative outlook, Nigeria's $1 billion Eurobond subsequently floated came back successful. The National Insurance Commission says it has received the final report of 41 insurance companies for the year 2016. A document from the Office of the Head of Corporate Affairs at the Commission, Mr. Abdulrazak Salami, shows that the account of only 32 of these insurance companies have already been approved. The Commission says that 5 of the companies' accounts remain under review, while others have been queried for failing some regulatory compliance measures. Let's see, the Nigerian equities market rebounded today to erase losses in the previous 2 trading sessions. Let's now join Emana Amawe for the details.
Hello and welcome to the stock market report. The Nigerian equities market rebounded midweek as sentiments toward high-cap stocks improved, and investors gained over 168 billion naira. The key broad mark index firmed up 1.38% to close at 33,598.20, and the total market value raced into 11.62 trillion naira. The volume traded rose some 85.03% to 759.04 million, worth 6.29 billion naira in 7,357 deals. There were 36 gainers and 22 decliners. May & Baker retains the topmost spot by 10.20%, while Ashaka Cement advanced about 10.18% and Unilever 10%. On the laggards table, international breweries slipped 4.80%, Cotix and 7-Up also fell within that range. All the sectoral indices closed higher, led by the banking stocks, as FBN Holdings witnessed transaction on over 100 million shares, and it's followed by Transcorp and Lasaco Insurance. And those are the day's trading figures. I'm Emana Amawe.
Thank you, Emana. Well, as for other African markets, they closed lower. Today also saw Asian and European investors trading cautiously in expectation of U.S. Federal Reserve's rate hike. Let's take a look at the numbers. With those numbers, we end Business News tonight. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Anne Umawodo. The rest of the news at 10 continues with Ijoma.
You first. First Bank.
Now let's take one more look at politics now. The 8th Legislative Assembly in Nigeria recently celebrated 2 years since inauguration, highlighting some positive and significant bills. Some point to issues left unresolved, though. In this next report, our correspondent Olu Phillips brings us more on the assessment.
126 bills passed, 1,065 considered so far till date. Those are some records coming from the House of Representatives. From the Red Chamber, 9th June 2015 through 9th June 2017, 96 bills passed and 72 petitions dealt with. The drums have been rolled back, and it shouldn't be a bad idea to run a little forensic on them. 3 things make a good assembly: oversight, lawmaking, and constituency representation.
There are laws, anti-corruption laws, before the assembly which they've not acted upon. I'm aware that there's a proposal to have a special law for trying corrupt persons. I don't know why the National Assembly has been sitting on it, but it will have been nice to pass that executive bill.
Since their business includes lawmaking, how have we fared with enabling laws that seek to elevate the status of a Nigerian?
By now, the National Assembly of Nigeria will have gone into the thinking garb of create laws that have strict liability. Why are people anxious to be charged to court here and they are not anxious to be charged to court in the UK?
Perception is everything. While they see themselves as a better assembly than their predecessors, it does appear they are veiled before the public eye.
There's pretty little difference between that of the executive and the people, that of the legislature and the people, and that of the judiciary and the people.
For instance, does it add up that it costs more to fund the legislature than education? The inconsistency in budget processing, leading to calls for rethinking the political party process, and questions around the capacity of those who apply for legislative jobs are just some questions.
And people are saying we need to restructure how we are governed, because it is clear that the kind of material progress that was made in those years, it's not being made in spite of the fact that there was no oil then, there's oil today and all of that. This should have been an issue that the National Assembly should have championed.
The legislature have the power of the gavel. Will they use it for the ultimate good of all? Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, newly elected presidents of sports federations in Nigeria get down to work, push for grassroots development. That's on sports. Just stay with us.